It's the Winemakers on Sporting News, presented by Jack Daniels. It's the Winemakers on Sporting News. Brian Blessing with Ricky Herron and Richie Bachelari. Let's send the Jets way out, way out, and up to the Great Northwest to take on the Seahawks, who opened up 6-point favorites, total up to 6.5. Total on the game is 38.5. Okay, Richie, you start. Jets are coming off a bye. Does that help?
No.
Well, let's start with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 4-0 at home. They're 4-0 against the spread. They beat the Cowboys, the Packers, the Patriots, and the Vikings at home. Under Pete Carroll, 7-0 against the spread their last 7 home games, and 16-5 against the spread in the whole time that he's been there. All that being said, we mentioned this stat last week, guys, and you're right. You said, does it help coming off the bye? In Seattle's case, we'll see if Pete Carroll can buck the trend. We mentioned it last week, teams going into their bye this year, when they were not playing another team going into a bye, were 2-14 against the spread. There were 2 of them last week, the Browns and the Redskins. They both lost against the spread. It's now teams going into their bye, 2-16 against the spread this year.
Before we started taping this, and you know what, you were just asking, but you know what, if he's ever gonna show up, Tim Tebow, you got Sanchez, this pass rush, that's a recipe for disaster. Extra time to get ready for an opponent. If they were ever going to spring Tebow, Richie, this may be the week, and it might not be the worst spot to do it, too.
Yeah, well, they've been saying that like the last 3 or 4 weeks that they were going to put this guy. I mean, why the hell did they get this guy? He's just a distraction. I mean, Ryan knows this team's going nowhere. 3-5 this year. They go to Seattle. They're at St. Louis next week. Then they got New England. I mean, they're a team that's going to be 3-8. He's played 50 plays this year on the offense. I mean, it's just a total waste of time. But you know what? They're 5-3 against the spread, and that's all that matters. If you're betting them, you're getting the cash, and there's a lot of people backing them, and they'll be backing them this week, but they'll be making a mistake.
Russell Wilson's getting better with each week. They're taking the reins off him a little bit, Ricky, and it doesn't hurt when you get Marshawn Lynch running the football.
And yeah, Russell Wilson 3 touchdowns in the first half last week, and in the 30-20 win against the Vikings. The key for me is that the Seattle defense has only allowed 62 points in 4 home games, and that included the 20 to Minnesota when Adrian Peterson went for 182 yards. I don't see the Jets scoring a whole lot more than that 15-point average. Rich, I agree with you. I think Pete Carroll will find a way to keep this team focused, and I don't see the Jets having the weapons to beat them.
Well, the 180, excuse me, Brian, 180 yards last week. AP had like a run of 75 in the first half. Second half, they held Minnesota to 59 yards. And the defense, number 4, giving up 300 points. And like Ricky said, it's a lot less at home.
No, sir, excuse me. I interrupted you. But I need to know, does this game get to 7?
Yeah, 100% it gets to 7. I could see some pros taking the 7 points, figuring it's going to be a lower scoring game. 7 points becomes value. I mean, let's face it. When they're down 10 or 12, defense comes back. You get a little backdoor action. Might might pad Sanchez's stats in that game too, because they are going to just stone cold stop. Let this guy, try and run the ball and then try and pass the ball. They're going to be helpless back there.
Jets at Seattle. This game, the entire menu of NFL games, our power rankings, editorial content, it's all here for you, the Winemakers on Sporting News.